Yes, this is a video response. Did I just do a? Yeah, I would. But this is a video response to No DJ 3200 about memories of the 32-bit era. By the way, if you guys never ever have seen a video from Mr. No, check his channel out. There will be a link to his channel. Um, No mentioned basically the Sega Saturn as well as the Sony PlayStation. Unfortunately for me, I never actually got a Sega Saturn. As it relates to Sega consoles, I made it to the Sega Genesis, uh, and my uncle had a Sega Dreamcast, but it wasn't actually mine. Therefore, I've really never. Yeah. But anyway, basically, the PlayStation 1 was my console of choice. I got a PlayStation 1 back in 1995, a little bit after its release, a whole lot, a little bit about a year. And the first games I remember playing for the PlayStation 1 were games, of course, that I got the day I got the system. One of those games was Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot, a huge platformer. I truly like that particular game. It was just fun to play. I beat that game. I believe I beat that game. I'm not sure. And then I got that. I got that. I forget shit. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot was one of the first games I had for it. Also, I got that same day was a game called Space Jam, and Space Jam is a really really awesome game. Of course, you play as Michael Jordan. You can play as any of the Toon Squad, if you will. Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck. Yeah, Bugs Bunny. Okay. But yeah, had that game, fun game to me at the time. You basically play to a tournament where you take on the monsters. But I had that. And the other game that I had was my first wrestling game for the PlayStation 1, which was WWF In Your House. And that game is, to me, it basically was kind of like WrestleMania, the arcade game. Had about four more extra wrestlers on there, and each wrestler had their own theme background. Many people did at the game saying that it wasn't good, but I personally had enjoyment out of it. Some other games I remember having on the system was a game called Vigilante 8. Vigilante 8 was basically kind of like a Twisted Metal clone. I liked the game. I thought it was pretty fun, especially the vehicles you could. I think if I recall, you could get it on school bus and stuff like that. But yeah, that was one cool game. Another game that I remember playing was Resident Evil's Director's Cut. Never actually had just regular original, but I had the Director's Cut version of it. And the first time I saw the part where the zombie is eating on the person and he turns around, scared the crap out of me. Another game that I got because I only played that Resident Evil game. I never played Resident Evil 2. I take it back. I did play Resident Evil 2 on a demo disc because they used to have these PlayStation discs called PlayStation Underground. You guys remember PlayStation Underground? They used to come in like PlayStation Game Informer magazines and shit. You get a little disc and it had a whole bunch of games of upcoming titles and stuff. And I used to get a whole bunch of those back in the day. I used to have a whole bunch of PlayStation Underground. And also it had Game Pro. Disc and whatnot. And they had demos on it as well as trailers and everything for games that would be coming out. But yeah, I had that. Let's see. Uh, but yeah, that was with the Resident Evil. I didn't really play any other Resident Evil games other than Resident Evil 1. Yeah, and I remember there was a part in there where you it's this giant like spider creature or something. That I remember that. You had the dogs chasing you and shit. Yeah, but it was a pretty decent game. A game that I really enjoyed also was Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve for the PlayStation 1. It was really great. The graphics on the game to me, I thought were very astonishing at the time. I liked the gameplay of Parasite Eve. It just felt really good. There were a bunch of other games I played, like Bloody Roar, which was like a fighting game slash like your tiger lions and oh my and all this shit. Uh, Pretty decent game as well. There are some games that I played like obscure titles. um, let's see. Let me remember. Let me try to remember because Kind of hard for me to remember. Oh yeah, and another great game for the PlayStation One. If you guys have ever played, it's called Fighting Force. I think Fighting Force was a great beat 'em up, especially a game that would go to the 32-bit era of gaming, imagining like games like Streets of Rage or Final Fight or just any game like that, and you just but yeah, Fighting Force was a really awesome game. I even have that. I even got that on the PSN for my PS3, and that was a cool game. Also, Crash Bandicoot 2. I played some sequels for games on there as well. Of course, SmackDown. SmackDown, of course, was like the opener to getting into the PlayStation for me. Also, when SmackDown came out, there was other games I had on there. It was I had every wrestling game that I could get. I would love to have gotten some Japanese titles because the Japanese wrestling games are very good too. There's one called to me, I don't know. I barely can say it, but yeah, PlayStation One for me was my memories of the 32-bit era. Even though my mom would get I'm sorry, a Nintendo 64 about a year from that time that I got the PlayStation One. It was her system though, but that was more of my fun memories of the 32-bit era because it was a system that I had. It was a system I played a lot, and yeah, there was also like Noel mentioned Street Fighter. I mean, I'm sorry, whatever Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 3. I never actually played it on the PlayStation 1, but a game that I did play was Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I had that game, and I regret to this day that I still don't have that game because Mortal Kombat Trilogy had at that time every fighter from the Mortal Kombat universe in one game, and it was a cheat that you could put in. I think it was LL four times, L2 four times. Anyway, you did all these little. No, I take that back. But anyway, you did this code, and you could basically do the one button fatality. Because I know a bunch of you guys out there probably know that when you played a Mortal Kombat game, either you had to have the memory of a cat. That cliche did not sound right, but you had to have a really good memory to remember how to do up, left, right, back, down, A, B, C, or E, L, triangle, whatever. You knew, but you had to basically figure out what the hell you were doing. But Mortal Kombat to me, trilogy on the PlayStation One is the definitive moment in the Mortal Kombat universe because I mean you had every fighter you could choose from, and I like the style of the game, the graphics, everything. Pretty good game. Yeah, but this video's been going on long enough. Like I said, if you guys haven't checked out Noel's channel, check it out. There will be a link in the description. But yeah, PlayStation, and of course, PlayStation 2 would follow. Then PlayStation 3. Yeah, I'm not a Sony fanboy though, so don't try to do me like that. But just a Jug at 82. Signing off. We can move.